What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Dose Be Gaming. Look, I gotta calm the energy over here. It's a little different over here. We don't got the same intro. Man, this makes no sense at all. That's right, we're doing a tier list. Why? I have no clue. This is Dose Be Gaming. But this isn't a gaming tier list. Nope. It's just a random Adam Sandler movies ranked tier list. That's what we got today. Why? I don't know. Actually, I do know. Don't let me lie. I do know why. So I'm sitting on YouTube, and you know how they just play like the next suggested or recommended video, and I had autoplay on. All of a sudden, boom, I'm just listening to stuff in the background when I'm working for the main channel, and all of a sudden, I hear a tier list, and the guy's ranking Adam Sandler movies, and while I'm listening to it, I'm sitting there like, I gotta make one of these. I've watched a lot of Adam Sandler movies. I like a lot of his movies. I need to make one of these, and it's been stuck in my head now for a couple of days, and here I'm sitting, and I'm like, I'm going to make one. I'm going to make a tier list, and I'm going to post it on Dose Be Gaming. I was thinking about even doing this live. So if you guys like this, we can do more tier lists. Hey, I like this. This is chill. Okay, I don't have to do, the watch the all 22. Okay, look, I've seen the movies. Boom, I'm going to rank them. This is my tier list. So that's what this is. So if y'all want, I don't know what we're doing. I really don't know what we're doing. But this was fun. It was fun to make it. So I'm down to do more tier lists, actually. It's been a long time since we put a video up over here, and we're coming back with an Adam Sandler movies tier list. Wow. Well, with that, let's get into it. So now this one's set up a little differently. I was going to drag and, drop the movies live and things like that, and originally I actually did that, but the issue was I went back and I realized it was missing a lot of movies. Whoever's tier list I used was missing a lot of movies, and I was like, this is not right, because I got to the end and I was like, wait a minute. I know there's a lot of movies that aren't on here. Maybe they just missed a couple. No, they missed a lot. So I was like, all right, let me find a different tier list. I found this one, and I just did it off camera, and I feel really good about it. And now I'm going to show you what I got. So let's do it. Here's the reveal. Now, first off, actually, I got to point this out. You can see on the bottom here, these are movies I have not watched. Now, I want to make something clear here. I have seen Adam Sandler 100% Fresh, the stand-up where he plays guitar in it, and then I've also seen Spanglish, but it's been a minute since I've seen Spanglish, and I wasn't gonna go back and rewatch or watch all these movies just to make this list. It ain't that serious, all right? And maybe it is. Maybe I should have. I don't know, but I didn't. So I've seen Spanglish, but I literally don't remember anything. I don't remember the plot. I think, didn't he speak like English and Spanish or something? I remember him having a curly hair. That's all I remember. So I'm not even gonna do it, and I can't put a stand-up, I feel like, within this. It's just, nah, it don't fit. I have not seen Bulletproof, but I kind of want to check it out. Reign Over Me, I know I want to watch this. I don't know if he's the main actor in this, but I do want to check it out. I have not seen any of the Hotel Transylvanias, probably won't. Same thing with Pixels. So with that, let's do it. Now, they had like their own tiers and how they like categorized this, and theirs was basically like 1 through 5, 5 through 10, 15 through 20, like just rankings. And I was like, I don't like that. I want to give names to the categories, and right to left is how this is going to go. So you can see here, this category actually kept the same. They had one that says, why does this even exist? Pepe hands. I don't know what that means. Look, you would think I would know. I have no clue. I don't understand any of like the Twitch language or whatever. I think that's Twitch. I don't know what that means. Or I don't even know if I pronounced that right. But why does this even exist? I left that one the same because I feel like these three movies kind of fit into that category. All right. So basically, by the way I'm doing this is I try to sort of put these in order, meaning that this would have been the worst, and then it's right to left. So with that, Going Overboard, I have seen that. I think it was like his first movie, and it was pretty awful. I don't even know if I actually finished it, but it's fine. You understand it. It's one of his first ones, and it wasn't very good, and I didn't like it. But that's okay. It was very weird. It just wasn't for me. Jack and Jill is kind of terrible. It's actually, what's so bad is I've seen it, and I knew it was bad, and it's like, no, it couldn't have been that bad. Like, that's one of those movies where I sit there, I'm like, it can't be that bad. There's got to be like a funny part. And then I don't think there's any funny part. I bet there's people out there that like this movie, and that's awesome. I just honestly, and I feel like I don't want to just you'll see my list is very, very strange, but I don't think there's a funny part in this movie. And then on top of that, which is just weird, and then on top of that, like, I tried to go back and rewatch it, and I fell asleep. I was so bored. It wasn't it. And then 8 Crazy Nights. I watched this once. I don't even know if I finished the thing. It wasn't for me. I think it was about Hanukkah. I mean, it was cool. I thought the voice acting was pretty good. I didn't really understand. I don't know if they were trying to like represent something specifically, but I got the idea of it. It wasn't like a crazy storyline. I understood the idea of what the story was and what they were going for there. With Adam Sandler kind of being, the I don't know. He was almost like the Grinch of the movie, I guess. And then the old dude, was like helping him out. It was fine. It was what it was. It was a cartoon. It was kind of weird, but I would watch that before I watched Jack and Jill. So that's where we're at with this. Okay, now let's get into the real tier list. Let's get away from whatever that was. Here we go. These I'm calling below average films. These are films that I'm saying this is not it. Well, I'm not saying it's not it. Like, I could watch it. I wouldn't prefer to. Like, I would say it's probably below average. Now, I hate that I'm putting Hubie Halloween in here. I almost feel like I need to put that in the next category now that I'm looking at it. But it is at the very top of below average, which is not that disrespectful. I mean, it's like, hey, it's below average, but it's the best of below average. So it's almost not below average. That's pretty good. I have Blended here at the bottom. Blended just wasn't it. I felt like the whole time in Blended, everything felt forced to me. It was, again, it just felt really awkward. It was very cringy. Like, every movie has cringe moments. A lot of Adam Sandler movies have cringy moments, and I'm here for them. Like, it's all right. I get it. But that movie it just never felt right to me. It just didn't, man. It was just missed for some reason. That's my boy. I gotta be honest with this one. It's not that good of a movie. I gotta be honest. Look, it's not that good, okay? I mean, I try to defend this one for a while, and I'm like, it's actually just not that good. But there are memorable scenes, which I feel like is the case with a lot of his movies. Like, I feel like he has a lot of good movies because there's so many memorable, iconic scenes that everybody kind of like knows. This one, to me, had to be the chicken nuggets in the pocket. Was amazing. I love that. Also, the story was kind of funny, like how it ended. And then also on top of that, I liked how they went for it. Why I didn't think the movie was very good. And again, I'm not ranking these on like, oh, here's the, what everybody thought of the movie. This is like, for me, I'm thinking of this as what I go back and watch in, which order would I say, okay, on any given day, put the Adam Sandler movie on, I'm watching this. That's probably going to be one of the lower movies for me. But they went for it. And you know what? They stuck to it. And they completely invested in what the movie was going to be. It just kind of missed like the whole way for me. But at the same time, I still enjoyed watching it. It just wasn't a good movie, I would say. The Do-Over, I think I liked it more the second time I watched it. It doesn't give me those like vibes where it's like, man, that was funny. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that was supposed to be a comedy movie. It was just a little off. And then, like I said, Hubie Halloween. I really rock with the idea of this movie. I rock with this movie in general. I feel like this is like a kid could watch this and enjoy the movie. I thought there was some funny. I think the funniest part was honestly the maze part. It still wasn't very good. I was like, okay, this is below average, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. It just was below average to me. All right, here we go. Let's get into this. We got a lot of movies here in the solid. These movies are solid. All right, and again, I'm ranking these. So this is the worst of the solid, and this is the best of the solid, and this is what I got. All right, you can see at the bottom of solid. Look, I'm already gonna get the heat right here. I'm here for it. I believe Grown Ups 2 is better than Grown Ups 1. I believe that it is. Okay, look, Grown Ups 1 has its moments. The idea is fine. It's these friends. It was like there wasn't much of a story to it, right? But it had some funny scenes. And then at the same time, there was like the little kind of just jokes they thought I'd throw in there. I thought there was some very weird moments that were just like real cringy. And I was like, this is goofy. But there was like a handful of scenes. There was a handful of scenes where I'm like, those were funny. All right, the bow, when it got in the dude's foot, that was funny. Like the 1 second where it's like, oh, that was funny. You might giggle at it. I don't know if you giggle, but you might. It was kind of like that for me. Where he swings off the rope and he hits the tree. I think that was this movie. It was things like that. All right, but this movie was not better than Grown Ups 2. It just wasn't, man. It was not. Then I got Airheads. I actually enjoyed Airheads, so I'm putting it down here, but it's solid. Like, Airheads is a solid movie. I would say he wasn't really the star of this movie. He was just like part of the cast, but he was one of the three. He just wasn't the star of this one, but I did enjoy it. I mean, I probably wouldn't just go back and watch it, but at the same time, for what it was a solid movie. Like, this was the definition of a solid movie. I rock with it. I think if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out because it's not a bad movie. Don't mess with the Zohan or the Zohan. Look, this one gets a lot of love for some reason. I don't think I've ever understood it, honestly. I think the biggest thing is it's so off the wall, and at the same time, like Adam Sandler has a lot of movies like that it's so unique, and I think there's an audience that this movie can hit with. I think there is, and I think I actually enjoyed it more most recently when I went back and watched this one, but still to me, and I'm not saying it's bad, it's just solid. It's like the lower solid tier for me, right? And there's a lot of other movies that I'd rather watch, so if I was like, hey, put the movie on, it's just way out there. It's way out there. It's creative as heck, but it wasn't it for me. But it's solid. Yeah, I put Ridiculous 6 above it. I did. All right, I like Ridiculous 6. It gets a lot of hate. I like it. I don't understand how you can dislike this movie. You can say it's not good. It wasn't well produced. You can say whatever you want. Actually, the cast was kind of fire, but you can say whatever you want. The point is, how can you hate or dislike this movie? Like, at least give me a solid. It's got funny moments. Like to me, top of my head, it's got much funnier moments than Grown Ups. To me. Right? I mean, you first off with a hang dude and he's still alive. He's got like this real strong neck. That was like it's I guess it would be like childish humor, right? And we get a lot of that with Adam Sandler movies, I feel like, but it was fine for this movie. The dude's playing the piano, like the baseball, that was great. Come on, man. This is not a bad movie. This is a underrated film because I think a lot of people think it's trash. It's not trash, man. I don't believe that. Neither is Little Nicky, all right? It's little, like, bro, this is what this category is. Little Nicky, Zohan, and Ridiculous 6 are right next to each other, and I think that's perfect. Little Nicky is literally perfect because it's like, who came, like, I sit there and I watch that and I think to myself, right? Who comes up with a movie like this? Like, why would you make a movie like this? I don't know. I have no idea, but the point is it was weirdly so out there. It was so out there that I didn't think some of the movie wasn't like appealing to the eye, I guess. It was weird, but it was kind of funny too. It was strange though. I don't know how you think of a movie like that. Now we're getting to movies that make a little bit more sense. Actually, I rocked with The Cobbler. I don't think it was super memorable. Like, there wasn't a lot of moments that are super memorable to me, but I think the idea of it was cool. You know, I think it was a cool idea, and he acted well in the movie. He acted well in the movie, and I think, you know, that's what you see with a lot of his. I think a lot of his actually, like, what people like more of his movies are the ones where they're not as just a goofy funny, even though I love a lot of those. This was like one of the movies. I feel like he just acted really well for it. And he can kind of do that, like just kind of be the solo show of the movie. I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. I think that's the title of this one. This movie's not a bad movie. I think this represents solid, though, to me. I think it does. I think they played well together. Pause. Hey, I think they're two actors that work well together in movies. I think that's what it is. They really work well together. This movie was great because I feel like the relationship dynamic that they had was perfect because the way that they had to portray Adam Sandler, which I think he does in a lot of movies, but at the same time, it made sense for the movie. You know what I mean? Because he kind of had to be that way for the interactions to make sense. I thought a lot of the interactions in this movie was good. That's what I liked about it. So I think this is a solid movie. Then I would go to Grown Ups 2 because Grown Ups 2, I think, look, the scene of the dude pooping in the store is one of the most classic Adam Sandler movie scenes of all time. It just is. To me, it just is, man. I mean, it's got, like, you know, the special appearances with guests on there. It's not like a great movie, right? To me, it's just solid because it's just kind of like the script feels very weird. But I feel like this one had more like just laugh out loud moments to me, man. Like it just, I think it hit a little bit better than Grown Ups did. Get out of me! Bedtime Stories. This feels like more of a kid movie, but I feel kind of weird. I feel like I'm almost putting this low. Like, the reason I have it here is because I wouldn't go back and watch Bedtime Stories like a lot. But at the same time, for what it is, I think it's actually a really good movie. So I think this is a good spot for it. 50 First Dates. It's honestly not like the movie for me, but I think objectively here, 50 First Dates is a pretty good movie. I think this one is, it's a pretty good movie. It definitely hit better than Blended to me. I mean, it was solid. Like, I feel like a lot of people like this movie more than I do. But it's a solid movie. I'll give it its respect. It's solid. And then I put Just Go With It. So like that's kind of the order in which I feel like I'd watch these movies. Just Go With It. Jennifer Aniston, they do a lot of, you know, movies, and I feel like they actually usually come out well. They work well together usually. But at the same time, like this movie had maybe I can't say it's my favorite scene, but it's up there. It's one of my favorites. The dude giving CPR to the sheep.
Even dance more, yes. Okay, all right, here we go. Eat some food. Eat some food. Come on, here we go. Couple more things. Yeah, make the milk. Yes, he makes the milk. You love it. You give milk to your baby. All right. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Come on. We got a couple things that I know how to do. Yes, Vic, you're killing him! Flaggity flesh in the basket!
Sheep doctor, he said, and he was trying to like give his CPR. Bro, I'm telling you that's such a classic. That is like one of the best scenes, bro. That was it. That was it. So that's why it's up there, cause that. God, I can't even said it. All right, let's go to the next category. What we got? Classics are very good. See, I think this is the perfect title, because either you look at these and you say that's a classic. Like when you think Adam Sandler movies, like, oh, that's classic Adam Sandler movie. Obviously, I didn't put the top tier movies in here, which is the next category. Or you look at it and you say maybe it's not a classic where it's like recognizable, like that's an Adam Sandler movie, but it's very good movie to me if you're just talking movies in general. Mr. Deeds, classic. Waterboy, classic. Everybody loves Waterboy, all right? I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's a classic. I think it's funny as heck, all right? It's a, like, obviously the Colonel Sanders part is funny, but it's just got a lot of those. He's really good at this movie. I think he killed this. This was like literally the role made for him to be great. This was perfect for him. It was like Saturday Night Live Adam Sandler in a movie. It was amazing. Perfect. The Wedding Singer. It's a classic. It's super funny. Again, playing like another crazy, goofy role, but it's funny as heck. Funny people, much different. Like, completely flip it. This one to me isn't a classic, but it's very good. I really enjoyed this. This is a longer movie. I enjoy longer movies usually, because usually if they're good, I enjoy longer movies. And I like the dynamic here. I mean, I like the cast that they had. I like the role that they have with Seth Rogen. I feel like there was some dry moments in this movie. I feel like there was. But I also liked it. I thought the story was good. I thought this was a good movie, man. Sandy Wexler is the most underrated Adam Sandler film of all time.
Jump over all those trailers.
Sir, my client is the best daredevil trapeze artist in the world. Thank you very much.
Let's go. What?
It just is. I dressed up as Sandy Wexler for Halloween a couple years ago. I did. Look, Sandy Wexler, and you know what? You know why I say that? And I can say that and be honest, because no one knew who I was. They said, what are you supposed to be? Oh, Sandy Wexler. Who's that? What do I got to do? You know? So this is the only way I can do it. Very good. And I think someday the real will recognize this is a classic. It's the Adam Sandler voice, right? But it fits the character so well. It's not like he's forcing it. Like, it fits the character of the movie so darn well. And it's got like those little jabs that are just so funny, but they hit you throughout the entire movie. I love it. I mean, it's like from the very beginning with the dude, you know, doing the jump. When he hit like a bird or something, you know, it's got those throughout with him living in the little house by the pool. It's like every little thing is just, it's dumb, but it's funny, man. It really is. It's gonna be a classic. Sandy Wexler is a legendary movie. I love it. The Meyerowitz Stories is very good as well. I think this one missed a little bit in terms of. I think it can be a little slow. I think it can be, but especially as it gets going, the relationship between him and Stiller. Obviously, I don't think, you know, Sandler is like the main character in this movie. It's more like the dad, but the relationship between the two, I think that it was just good acting. That was just good acting to me in that one. Murder Mystery is very good. Murder Mystery is very good. I don't know if it's a classic, but it's probably in a little bit of both here. I think the newer audience, you know, because of Netflix, this is probably one that a lot of people have seen. Murder Mystery is a good movie. Murder Mystery is a very good movie. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it's one of his better movies. It's not in the top tier to me.
Should we pull it out? No, it's a foot long now.
Will you listen to my husband? He's a detective.
I'll put it back. Don't put it back.
But it's very good. Like, it's close. I mean, it's just a good movie. It really is throughout. And then, like I said, they usually work well together. And then finally, Longest Yard. I like the remake, his remake, better than the original. And I thought they nailed it. I mean, that the side characters they had were perfect. This was another very good movie. I struggle to put it in classic, but or not classic, top tier, but I think it's a classic. I think it's one of his classics. I think that's a classic Adam Sandler. And then that finishes us off with the top tier. All right, these are the top tier, the GOATs of his movies. When you say what's the best Adam Sandler movie, it is well, not that. It is these movies. These are the GOATs of his movies. I'm jacking this thing up. Here we go. And this is kind of my order too. Number 1, Billy Madison. Best, I think you can argue a lot of these movies as his best. I would say this is his best of all time. Warning, there is some bad language in this clip, but I have to leave it in there because it makes the clip funny.
The part of the story I don't like is that the little boy gave up looking for Happy after an hour. He didn't put posters up or anything. He just sat on the porch like a goon and waited. That little boy's got to think. You got a pet. You got a responsibility. If your dog is lost, you don't look for an hour and then call it quits. You get your ass out there and you find that fucking dog.
I think it's him playing his best role, which he could play a lot of roles as he showed us. But this was Adam Sandler at his best. I have the movie poster of it. There's not a part in the movie that I don't enjoy. Like, that's the vibe I get with this movie is I don't want to, like, every scene is funny. Every scene is enjoyable. Like, I don't want to miss certain parts. There's not a moment like that. I don't care what it looks like or how they wrote it. If it was a great movie, man. That is Adam Sandler at his best right there. Oh my goodness. Whether it's the ending of the movie, you know, where the guy's putting the lip gloss on and then he shoots the dude, or I mean, it's everything. It's everything about this movie is fantastic. Big Daddy. I'm putting that at 2. I think Big Daddy, I think you could say it's number 1. I think Big Daddy is suitable for all audiences. It's got the emotional part. It's got the funny part. I mean, maybe there's a couple things in there that are like, maybe that's a little unnecessary, but honestly, like, it's perfect. It's perfect, man. It's really just it's funny as heck for like it's like funny as heck for the first 40 minutes. It kind of gives you like Marley and Me vibes. And at the ending, it has like the emotional ending, but at the same time, it's also a good ending. It's one of his best. It's so rewatchable. I mean, that may be the most rewatchable Adam Sandler movie. If you had to watch an Adam Sandler movie like 7 days in a row, that would probably be the one that you could rewatch, I think, the best, because it just ties everything in there. Uncut Gems was fantastic. This was like one of the, it's honestly, and I watch a lot of movies, a lot of thrillers, horrors, that's my genre. But this movie was one of the only movies I've seen that literally had me like, that made me feel like tensed up. But at the same time, it wasn't a horror movie. It was like, what the heck is going on here, man? It was so tense to the end. The ending was great. I won't spoil it, but it's definitely worth checking out. I loved this movie. This movie was fantastic. It was a completely different direction. And I know he doesn't do a ton of movies like that, but every time he kind of goes that direction, he just knocks out the park, right? I feel like Punch Drunk Love, perfect example of that. Knocked it out of the park to me. I think Punch Drunk Love is one of his best. I have it at 4. I think it's one of his best, man. You almost feel bad for the movie character. I literally watched this like as a bootleg version, and the audio was all jacked up. I didn't even know if it was the real movie, and I really still enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing. I watched this multiple times, man. I love this movie. Happy Gilmore, some people probably had this at 1. I don't blame you if you do, because this is, again, I would say this is the most recognizable Adam Sandler, because it's its own thing. You know, it's kind of like, I don't even know if there's a comparison. Like, there is comparisons, but it became its own thing, where you can almost recognize him as Happy Gilmore. Because, and I don't know if this had anything to do with Happy Madison, I'm sure it did, but because, you know, they obviously, you know, the intro like hits the golf ball, but like this is so recognizable, but also like just the scenes, man, whether it's the miniature golf, literally it opens up amazing with him. I think I may have just seen the movie too much, with them opening up the movie at hockey practice and him fighting the hockey coach.
Oh, well, better luck next year. No, that wasn't very nice.
It's one of the best intros to a movie you could possibly have. Like, Billy Madison has him singing, you know, Back to School, classic. Everybody knows that one. Him sitting in the bathtub. But this one, the way that it opened, beautiful. Click. It's sad. It's similar, I think, to Big Daddy. I don't think it's as funny as Big Daddy. I think it's got some more like, what the heck's going on here? But it's a very good movie. I think it's just really well written. And then finally, Anger Management's just a classic. Anger Management's a classic. like I love the plane scene, especially now, like going back rewatching it, I like the plane even more. Scene where it's just like, calm down. He's like, I am calm. He was super calm, man. That was, oh, it's fantastic. But then what makes that movie so great, and honestly you can put it higher, is that I don't want to spoil it, so spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. It's old though, but check it out. Spoiler alert. The ending where everything is kind of tied together and it was all planned, even though it felt like it was going to be a little bit like, oh, this is corny, but it was all planned. So while it was a little bit kind of goofy that, you know, he at the baseball game, but the fact that it was all planned was pretty darn awesome. It was a pretty darn awesome ending. So yeah, this is my tier list for Adam Sandler movies. I feel like I just like a lot of his movies. I think he's got a lot of good movies. I think he's one of the best actors, one of my favorite actors personally. So when I say best, I say my favorite. One of my favorite, especially because I like the horror thriller genre, and he's not even in that. He lives in the comedy genre for the most part, but when he steps outside of it, I think he usually nails it. Comedy can be hit and miss, but his comedy is use my friends over and over and over, same dudes, which I love. He's like, hey, you're my guys. We're going to make these movies. It's like some of them don't even feel like they're that serious, which is fine because they're just so rewatchable. And even though they're not going to ever be looked at as like, this is one of the best films of all time, they're just super rewatchable. They're super relatable. And everybody can kind of just get with it. I feel like everybody can kind of just get with an Adam Sandler movie, which is why I think he's so real wide, like recognized as one of the best for a lot of people, because you can just kind of I don't know, you can fit yourself into all their movies, right? They all, like, there's a lot of movies that'll come out, especially now, where it's like, man, that's just so unrelatable. Like, they're, you know, whatever it is, however they try to portray it, like, I mean, they got, whatever. A lot of his goofy ones are, you know, they all have, like, their own little characters, and actually, as I'm saying that, what I'm recognizing on here, and I gotta put this in here, A Week Of is not on here. A Week Of would be in classics or very good. I think A Week Of is a classic. I think it's right there with Sandy Wexler. It might arguably be better, and I love Sandy Wexler. I think it's probably arguably better, and I love Sandy Wexler. It'd be high, very good, because A Week Of with Chris Rock, like, that's another one of those movies. Like, it's relatable. The dude throwing him into the pit. Obviously, like, the one guy, you know, Chris Rock's super rich, and he doesn't have any money, and it's like, you know, trying to throw the Redding, but the entire time it's great. So that would be in that category. I'm mad that that's not on here. Like, come on, list, what are we doing? Y'all don't got the movies on here? Anyway, that's my tier list. Y'all want more tier lists? Let me know. Let me know where I'm wrong, because I know I'm wrong. No, I'm not wrong. There is no wrongst with this. I do need to check out some of these, but I have seen this one and this one. I just don't know where to put them. Thank you, Bob, for watching, or that's not over here. Let me know if y'all want to see different tier lists and what kind. And we out.